Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up? The Pain Train, Wesley, Christos, Plastic Starfish. What's up, man? Purrs. Hey, bro. Matt, what's up, dude? All right. What is going on with AMC? We're here to talk about it. All right. All right, guys. So, real quick, before we get on AMC analysis, we are going to look at SPY. Okay. Now, we're going to look at SPY for a few reasons. All right, this is my little projection on SPY. We are coming up to the peak here in the point of interest in the market. So this doesn't just apply to AMC. Remember, this is something we track in the overall markets. All right, I'm tracking this on the daily chart. Okay, and this is a range that I think SPY is probably going to head to here in the next few days. Yes, this could technically be the peak as well. We are at we're getting very close to a level of resistance on the macro chart, so that 450 range is going to be a resistance level, and that means that if the market comes down here, it's likely that all stocks, including AMC, would be taking a breather until the next volatility window in the markets, which does not happen until August. Okay, so with this, yeah, we are seeing the crypto markets run. We're seeing a lot happening right now that is indicating other stocks in the market should run as well. Remember, these are sectors that run one by one. Okay, so we have the crypto markets go, we have the meme stocks go, we have the EV sectors go. Right, there's a bunch of opportunity, I think, right now in the markets, and it's not this again, the point of interest on AMC here is not something that guarantees volatility. It just gives the opportunity inside that window, as we've seen happen before. So yes, the peak, and I'll show you this in the cycle. And let's hope the cycle is lined up. Nope, it's not lined up correctly. We're going to have to pull up another chart here, guys, because unfortunately, I don't know why TradingView does this, but it will shift it around. It's annoying. I don't like it. Don't know why it does that. So we're going to go on another chart here and see if it pulls it up. Nope. Man, these are really old charts too, but I still have the cycle pulled up on these, so it should pop up. Yep, here it is. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. See, like, why you gotta mess my other charts, man? This one has all the cycles here. They're lined up, like, perfectly. And then you come back to this chart, and look at what TradingView's doing, bro. They gotta fix this, man. Look at this. Come on, man. Fix it, bro. All right. So where are we in the cycle? We are coming up to the peak here in the next few days. So remember that plus or minus 2 days I use at the beginning and at the end of the cycle. Every single cycle, even though there's been volatility, most cycles here, except the one in January, have all had a pretty much within that volatility window is where we've experienced that heavy volume coming in. So again, I always let things play out until the end. I don't, I don't come to any conclusions or anything until that has happened. Now, the reason for me not, you can lean towards this, towards the side for sure, but remember, like we've experienced this before. I've done this in August, right? In August, we had a positive POI. And when this happened, there was a fake out prior to it. And I initially thought, you know what? This is going to be an inverse POI because we are dipping on earnings. And it happens to be inside the POI, right? And then that same day, that next day, we had just, we had that 100% push, right? So that's how I'm treating this as well. Like, things can happen very quickly. And that's why, I don't come to any conclusions until the POI is over, until it's done. All right. So with that, though, I am going to give you guys some scenarios as to what we can expect based on just technicals, based on the market and everything, right? So as you can see, we have not crossed this freaking trend line, right? How many days, right? It's been almost a week where AMC is trading on a downtrend. Ever since we had that rally stream, man, things start coming down, unfortunately. But we have not crossed below this. So this is still a bullish setup here on the macro chart. All right, you can't be a bear just yet, right? Because the chart is still riding this trend line. Until it crosses this trend line, then you can start getting skeptical. You can start changing your thesis a little bit. But right now, we are still riding this. Why I think things can still happen very quickly. Just look at what happened back here, right? We briefly crossed. We have a V reversal on AMC, just like we have on other stocks. We have, Virgin Galactic. Look at this. This is one of the, you can put this on the meme little basket that we track because this went up around the same time that GameStop and AMC went up back in January, right? So massive rally, and then again in June. So both of these were POIs that we tracked with the memes. SPSC is in there, and then guess what? We also have Nikola. Nikola, same thing. Part of the meme basket, right? Every single run-up that we've had on Nikola as well has been inside the POI. So the fact that these are going up inside of the AMC volatility window should tell you that, well, the window at least is, it's accurate in that you still have all these other stocks in the market that are pumping, just not AMC in particular. And like I said, this happens when certain stocks in the market are priming or are primed to go up at a certain point, because they're not all going to go together every single time. Even though they track the same POI, they're not going to go up together exactly the same way. So I'm writing this out, man. I'm letting it pan out. Until that happens, there's really nothing that you just got to keep looking at the chart, man, and hope for the best here in that, because that is what happens in these POIs. All right, now I'm in log here. Why am I on log? So with that, man, I'm gonna go over a couple of things as well. I'm not just gonna talk about AMC here. I want to talk about other stocks in the market and other things going on in the market, because there is, with these POIs, there's a lot of opportunity, and that all relates to AMC in the end. That is how we crack down the code. It's always looking at other sectors, other stocks, and especially in the crypto market as well, looking at what is happening there is very good to what this whole cycle analysis thing is about in the first place. If you don't do the analysis on that, then it makes it extremely hard to just look at AMC, nothing else. We got to know what's going on in the other markets to be able to narrow down the POI. Okay, so let's pull up some of the things we talked about on the last video. Okay, and then with that, I'm also gonna talk about some of the indicators here that we're tracking. All right, let's see. Okay, so here's spots indicator. Okay, we got rejected off of the pink curve. Okay, so that was resistance. We got rejected. We're on the way back down. Let's update the weekly. Okay, so weekly as well is just riding it. Hasn't crossed it on the way up. The last time it crossed it, it got rejected and it was on a POI. And the first time we crossed it was inside of the entire AMC chart since the first volatility zone we experienced was in January. And that it's been some time, but you can, this goes with that analysis we went over, which was using the 3-month. Three-month chart here. Okay, now I'm going to pull up something that is freaking crazy, all right? I'll pull up something that's crazy. So this pattern that we're looking at right here, okay, one can call it a pump and dump. It is. It technically is a pump and dump on the 3-month chart. You can look at it on the yearly as well. It's going to be a pump and dump. So with these, though, with pump and dumps, you have to look at how quickly they come down. And I said something about this on the last video. There is 2 ways this can happen. If you look at Nicola's chart, it kind of drags on for a little bit, and there's a lot that AMC and Nicola, there's a lot of differences between both charts. So you do have to look at fundamentals in this specific case, because with the whole Nicola thing, there were pretty bad fundamentals for a really long time, and that's why the stock did what it did. It went up, and then it just dragged on forever, and it did something like this. For AMC, that's not quite the case. We don't have bad fundamentals, and that's what makes this whole thing different, right? You can say the chart in a way looks similar, and if it did something similar to Nicola, this thing would just drag on forever and go into that dollar range. That wouldn't be great. But we don't have that, and we're starting to see some green popping up. So some green with some nice volume as well. That is crossing previous red candles with very little volume. So that's already a good sign. If we're looking at 3 months, well, you guys know that we have, the June POI that we're experiencing right now, and we also have the one in August, okay? So what this is telling me is, say that this candle turns green, okay? If this candle turns green, that's going to be 2 candles in a row going up to the next candle that opens up here in July, okay? And once that opens up, if there's already 2 candles in a row, green, you're going to start to see things change here in the markets. And you're going to start to see this curl back up. All right? Now, I'm going to talk about this pattern here. We're going to pull up some reference patterns for this. Let's see where we have this pattern. Okay, so I'm going to pull up just a very basic meme stock here in the crypto space. We'll just pull up. This one is called Ladies. And it is, so this one has been a pretty high volatility play in the crypto markets. And I think that it's fair to, with these higher volatility plays, it's fair to compare them with high volatility plays in the market. So AMC being one of them. Now, I do know where this pattern is, and I'm going to show you guys where you can find it, and we're going to compare the two. Okay, and I believe it's somewhere down here. And no, it's not on the hour. I mean, this is like a micro pattern that I was messing with a little bit ago. Okay, let's see. Where are you at, dude? And there's better versions of this too. This is not the best chart because it does kind of barcode a little bit, and I don't like that so much. But I do want to pull up the structure of this pattern because, man, where is it? Let me see. I think let's try OP. This is not a high vol, and it's not that super high volatility. But let's try and find this, man. Pump dump. Okay, so I know for a fact, I know there's a few that have done this before. Bat did it, and then also Man Up. But they did it a long time ago is the thing. We can go way back here. Actually, look at that. I think I have it right here. I think this is it. Pump dump. Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of versions of this right around this range here. This was way back in April, and I don't know if they. Oh, wait. I think. Oh, here it is, guys. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about here. All right, and this is crypto. We're on the micro chart here, and then this is the hourly chart. We're gonna go on the 15th, see if we can pull that up a little bit, and then we can go back here on the daily, or try to see if it kind of works the same way a little bit. All right. So what happens here with both of them? We have pump and dumps, complete pump and dumps. It comes up all the way back down, and it gets very close to that support range or that support level. And you can this one does come down very quickly. But I want to talk about that sort of relief rally we have afterwards. Not all the time do we get it coming up to the same levels, but a lot, there are multiple versions of this pattern that do create this kind of a setup like that. And this is why I pulled up that pennant pattern that we talked about because, looking at the fibs and everything, that pennant pattern we talked about would come up to that $25 range. Whether it happens on this POI or the next one, it doesn't matter. You do have to track these levels. If the chart remains bullish, doesn't matter if it happens again on any of these POIs, but you do kind of want to see the structure of the pattern and narrow it down to a certain window, uh, a certain window in time. If I pull up any of these fractals and I try and line them up according to the lows and the highs, and then try and line up some of the POIs in between, I guarantee you that most of them are going to track and give us a little window right around this range. So why I'm still, again, bullish on AMC in this case is because even though we've been trading sideways for almost a year now, right, in this range, just almost a year, okay, we still haven't broken below very important levels here, and that is, well, anything really above that 350. We haven't broken below that, and because if we did break below that, then chances are AMC would probably double bottom, and like I said, that would make it extremely hard for it to come back up. It would probably trade sideways in that range for a little bit and then come into the dollar range, and you guys already know how that works. Whenever we get into that range, it becomes very dangerous for the stock, because then it's easier for these guys to bring it lower and lower and lower after that. I think a lot of people would just it's a very, very nasty thing when these guys get it to those levels. But we're not there, man. We're not there, and we've been trading in this range for a little bit, so that is why I'm pretty optimistic about it. Let's see. Okay. All right, let me see if I can pull up another one. Okay, I'm going to pull up a lot here and try and align as many as I can up, as many of these fractals with this one. So we're going to start with this. It's just like, dude, this stuff, man, I'm telling you. The thing about fractals. Okay, we'll compare them, but I'm gonna take a few here. Let's take down to. All right, let's try Bitcoin. And Bitcoin just broke very important level, and that rallied the markets, guys. This is really good sign. I think, well, in the short term, there's already a pump, so you do want to kind of let that ride, but it did break a very important level of resistance, and now we're starting to see the entire crypto market rally here. So I'm going to show you a couple of patterns in here as well that I think would be relevant to when tracking AMC. So yeah, way back here, this is the one that I actually am currently tracking on one of the AMC uh, candidate fractal candidates that I look at. So we're gonna come back to this. Let's see if this works. 5 minutes. Awesome. Watch this. I'm gonna show you guys something cool here. Okay, so we flipped the chart, right? Now with fractals, okay, you know that at that point where they stop tracking. Okay, well, they don't necessarily stop tracking. They sometimes they flip or they track from certain points. So if we take this pattern here on Bitcoin, let's go all the way over here or something. Pull it up here. Shrink it a little bit. This is the crazy part about it, man. So make sure I have the right thing here. There we go. Didn't have the right one. Okay. So again, with these things that you line up, you see the same sequence panning out right here at on this little section with just using that fractal. And then what you can do is you can see that right in between too. And let me make sure I have the right one, guys. I do have the fractal set up here. Let's see. Bitcoin is this one. Okay, because I'm pretty sure I flipped it or something. And again, you're using a reference pattern. A lot of these will be flipped, and they will look a little different, like this one right here. And I can already tell you that this is moved. It was moved by TradingView because, yep, it's supposed to look like this. Okay, here we go. Now let's see. Why do these two look different? Are they flipped? Bro, where did I get that pattern, man? Is it this? All right, I gotta find this freaking pattern. I feel like it's here somewhere. Okay, point is, I found this pattern is definitely here. I can 100% tell you that. It's here. This is Bitcoin. Okay, it's a Bitcoin pattern. It's in my little fractal folder, and we're gonna be taking a look at this one. Again, it's found in April. So I found this one in April, going into May. And this right here, like I'm gonna show you the flip that happens because you can track this on basically any stock in the market that follows sort of high volatility volatility plays, right? You don't want to. And Bitcoin and the crypto market is considered higher volatility. I mean, you can't really compare it to the indices in the market or anything like that. But what you can see here, based on this, is you can see some of when I flip the chart, you can see some of these sections here following the dip here in the arc. You can see, for example, right here we have a match, and then when you flip it, okay. Okay, right. Now you have, so this is where you have the inverse pennant in the arc, and then you come up to this section right over here where we're trading kind of sideways, and you see things coming back up. And this is the same thing that I talked about, is that you can use this for reference when it comes to tracking some of the levels, and then what the overall pattern is essentially going to be doing in the end, which in this case we have that pennant formation. So we have this with Bitcoin, and we also have this with XRP. The one with XRP is one that is also very it's very accurate. Remember the ARPA pattern that we pulled up? The most accurate sequence of AMC was using the premium index on ARPA. Okay, and this one here obviously called for sideways trading for quite some time, but we need to ignore this section back here on ARPA because that is where volume died down. So the likelihood of this tracking ARPA is a little bit, it's not that it can't do this, but it just means that AMC would have to die down in volume as well. So this is where I do track and say that normally it does tend to stray away and not track these patterns anymore. So this is XRP and ARPA. XRP. And then you have the same levels using this as well. So say that it tracks something similar to XRP. And say that it comes up here to a range, and we start tracking like a new level of resistance. Then again, we come up to these, the $25 level, the $30 level I talked about, and now you do have to zoom out of the chart, draw a support level, and then your pennant there to start this whole thing. Now, if you wanted to get pretty crazy with it too, this is why I think that AMC has to start climbing up. If it does not climb up here in the short term, why I think this is going to be very bearish for AMC is that now you really can't have a macro pennant on the chart. If it crosses and it tries to double bottom, now you just have a double bottom to work with. Okay, the thing about pennants and why they're pretty bullish is because once they start bouncing up and they come up to a fib level, in this case being that $30 range, was that now you're bouncing back and forth between these walls, and then you know that there's still potential in the long term for more upside. But when it's a double bottom, I mean, all you really just have to hope for a pretty strong bounce because you're coming up to all-time lows again. Okay. All right, and AMC, I mean, it is climbing back up today. I will say it's close to coming in and maybe closing green, which is good. Yeah, we have the inverse arc playing out today. So if you don't know what that is, it's this right here. No, Well, in this case, I flipped it already, so it should look like this. There we go. Let's see. So that's the little inverse arc. We always track a volatility zone towards the end of it. You can see there's, I mean, it's starting to pick back up. If it closes green today, at least we know that we still have an opportunity to keep climbing up because we are at that support level. So that would just be good. Higher the chance that AMC actually bounces here. Okay, remember AMC tends to go up when the market is ready to peak. Okay, and because we are at that peak in the volatility zone, it makes it more likely for AMC to start running here, even though we still have about that 3-day to go here on the volatility window. Guys, a lot can happen in 3 days, man. I mean, again, just look at what Nikola just did. Look at what Virgin Galactic just did. In a matter of days, they're up 100%. So this is why I am not. I let these things pan out because of the correlation that we've seen before. Correlation is pretty high, considering all POIs have happened inside this 13-day window. And right now the correlation is 100%. It's 5 out of 5. Let's look at some other things. Okay, all in one. Change. Oh, you know what? Let's also look at CopyPat. I haven't looked at CopyPat in a while. CopyPat, and CopyPat is the same thing. It measures the volatility. So no, this thing can't, like, I'm not tracking this to tell me what levels specifically it's going to go to or where it can go to. This is just to track some of the volatility that is happening in the entire chart. So if you know that there is a pretty large drop here, pretty big rally on the pattern, that should just scream, there's potential for it to track volatility based on the parameters that it does track. Okay, so I use this to. So back in, what was this? Man, this was a while ago too. I used this on SPY, and it's actually the face of. Let's see if I can find this. Man, that would be crazy. But we used it for SPY on the weekly chart, and if you pull it up, if you try and go to where I have the indicators set in the list, you will find it. Let's see. Where is it at? Here it is. So this right here is called CopyPat. And again, this indicator is just using the Fourier transform to basically like not predict, but like show you based on historical patterns, the possibility of something panning out using those frequencies. It just sort of smooths out the chart a little bit and then uses the parameters that are set to be able to construct that forecast here. So the cool thing about this, guys, is that this actually panned out. And I mean, you can tell right here we have the 440 level. It says here right around April, right? So again, this is a weekly chart. So because it is such a large interval, we do have to give it that space here. But even going into that June time here, we have it coming up, and we have it calling a bottom. So this is October 31st, 2022. If you come back to the chart here, SPY, okay, the bottom was that. That was the bottom. That's where this thing called for a big, big push. Now look at this. This is the daily chart, and it's already calling for downside here and calling for the same levels that we have projected. So the copycat is really nice at just giving you a better perspective too in the markets. Like if you think the stock is going to come down, having this be a projection tool, using it with spots as well, is really just freaking awesome. So highly recommend. Using this, these two guys. This is a indicator you can find on the list below. If you go on TWE Charts, pull it up for you guys here, twecharts.com, and you'll find the indicator list there as well. You get this one. You get Volt is a really good one as well. It's for tracking volatility in the crypto markets, and that, man, that is a really nice indicator. I have alerts set on the Discord as well with all of these, so Volt, spots, and then levels for anything that happens in the market. Any like crazy levels of resistance, support that are major are set and to alert when they are triggered. Okay, so that's just one. I'll pull this up on the weekly chart here and see what it's telling me, and I'll pull up the rest here in a bit. One. Wow, look at that. So on the weekly chart, and I do kind of agree with this, at least in the short term, right? Because I do think that markets are going to take a little dip here to probably around the, right around that maybe that 410 range by sometime in July. I do think the markets are going to start coming down. Because the next POI in the markets doesn't happen until August, and it doesn't guarantee that it's a bullish one either. If it's bearish, then you would see something like this. You would see something completely just sort of give up here. Now, because the crypto markets have turned around as well, that does kind of change the thesis a little bit here on the macro charts. If they don't come down completely, if this is a complete turnaround in the crypto markets, then I would expect the market to keep coming up. But that doesn't mean that a breather is not going to happen. Like, I think a breather is going to happen regardless. Let's try this on. I'm curious to see what NVIDIA, because I'm like, dude, look at that. Freaking NVIDIA, bro. And that's crazy. This is the... Dude... Bro, I'm telling you, man. Look at this. Doesn't that looks pretty reasonable, man, for a pullback on NVIDIA. And this is just, you pull that back, you're like, okay, is NVIDIA ready? NVIDIA's probably going to come down very soon. We tracked NVIDIA for a little bit. I initially was back here, guys. Back here, initially I was bearish on NVIDIA. But once it crossed this level, the everything changed. We actually tracked a pattern here that fully called out this play here. It was the biggest, actually one of the biggest trades we took last week on the Discord because of that. And now I do have it coming down following this push. Now I'm going to show you guys where I found this using the pattern scanner. Okay, NVIDIA. We went all the way back, you won't believe this, 2003. And the crazy part is that this happened after the crash in 2000. So that, man, like it's right here. Look. This right here is how we pulled up and predicted this next push here that we have. So it's the same thing. Like NVIDIA, it had pumped, and it was at the same time, guys. This was May. Look at this. This is May right here as well. So you can see it comes all the way up here, and then right around that June time, it starts coming down. It takes a dip all the way into August. So I do think that we're gonna have a breather on Nvidia, and it's gonna be a pretty hefty one. I think it's gonna start pushing down very soon. Let's see. Let's pull up this entire thing, and I'm gonna show you guys the pattern that I tracked. Right. Oh, of course. Okay, now it's because it's in the same chart. This is not going to change the time, but look at how accurate this thing is, man. Okay, and then right here, calling for downside going into the end of the month. Now, if we use the same levels from like all the way down here, okay, it would change a little bit. Like, I mean, if we use like the exact same ratio, right, this thing would be calling for something a little bit greater. But I think that because the gap is so big, it's important to just track it from the top here. And you can use that just using a moving average or changing your, here we go, your thing here. Okay, and then probably right around, yeah, right around there or something. And now this is where we come back and we pull up the copy pat indicator. And I was on the weekly chart. And guess what? Right now we have the copy pat indicator giving us at least till this point, and this is why I don't use more than 50 bars of forecast, because the POIs do end up changing. So here you can see that it follows through and then at least confirms that the levels are accurate. So we have the high, the low, and then we have a short right here. Okay, so this already tells me that, you know, the pattern here is pretty valid. Knowing that copy pat, that's what it does. Copy pat takes historical patterns and then, you know, formulates that projection based on those. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Man, look at this too. Just imagine, man. Yeah. This is my projection. Posted this a few days ago. You can see I have it coming down and then potentially going to continue coming down by the end of August, probably to that 300 range. Yeah, right around that well, here it says around 335. 335. Okay. Yes, and we took a Pepe trade, man. I know I've had a lot of questions about this. So I'll talk about that. And I'll pull it up here, actually. I had a little diagram I made. So I'll pull it up for you guys. So I'll take this out here for a sec. Let's come up and see Pepe. Okay. See Pepe chart. Nice. I'm trying something out here. I don't know if it's going to work. It's going to be good at it, but bear with me. Okay, that should be good. All right, so here's Pepe. Here's a chart. Now I did have because we're tracking a volatility zone using using Shiba, and we've been doing this for a while because prior to the run that we had gotten all these levels and everything, I also said that it was very likely that Pepe was going to go down to the $500 million market cap, which it did. It came all the way down, okay, to that $740 market cap, and it's very close, was trading in that range, and then we called for a rally here to about that 12 level, and right now it's trading at almost 14, going into that, it's in that 13 range level. So here's a little Shiba pattern. Okay. Now, the cool thing about this is it also traded inside a parallel channel. So here's a little parallel channel that we have, and it basically trades sideways here with the entire crypto market. So now you're starting to see all these memes pump in the market. And it's the same thing that Shiba did back in 2021. I mean, we're talking about like 2 days apart in May. So it started in May. Binance decides to release this on to trade, and then what happens, right? Everybody loses their money. So that was something that we used to be able to project this short back down. And now that we're trading at these levels, I said, you know what? If we're tracking Shiba here, it's very likely that we're going to have a pump in the short term. So if I pull up the actual chart, okay, now we're going to take Shiba away. We're going to take Pepe away. We're going to pull up the actual chart here. This is Pepe right here. You can see that it's trading right there at that 14 range, and it's up 30% today. So yeah, I'm pulling up this. I know I had some questions on it, and I just want to talk about like what we can expect next. No, it doesn't have to track Shiba 1-to-1, but based on the chart, I mean the two look identical, dude. Here you can't see, so see a Shiba. This is the actual Shiba chart. Okay. Look, just look at the similarities, man. May 2021 all the way to October of 2021. This was an entire about 6 months of just trading sideways. It gets shorted, trades sideways. And then why we call this a volatility zone? Because if things have already happened the same way and we're tracking them happening the same way right now, it's likely that it's going to continue and follow the same sequence, because we know in the markets, the way they dump these things, the way they trade them sideways is all running on algorithms. So, again, not saying this thing can't keep pushing up, but because it reached the levels it did today, if the markets are going to come down and breathe, that also means that the crypto markets are going to come down and breathe. So, yes, I do see this trading sideways for a little bit. Okay, again, I'm using this as reference, the Shiba pattern. And here's the parallel channel. Now we also have the volatility window, and you can see that as well on the Shiba pattern that we have here. That is what we're using for this. Here's the Shiba pattern again. Right? And you can see it starts right here. Okay. I'll line that up there for you. Here's the volatility window. And yeah, man, if this comes back down, if it trades sideways here, there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the crypto market going into October. It will, in the memes at least. And I will say this, guys. It's not a. This is the part that should blow your mind a little bit. What do we have going on right now? We have a volatility zone, right? So if we come all the way up to August, okay. Remember, the volatility zone is about 62 days apart. So we have 60 right here. And then this is the peak of it. So the middle of the volatility zone is going to be in right here, okay? So now what do we have, right? We have the markets trading completely just sideways in between the 60 days. But then on the volatility zone, we have bullish, bullish. And in this case, we have the volatility kicking in for Pepe right here. So if it does trade sideways after this, it's probably going to come back up in August on the next point of interest. Okay? And you do this back here as well. Okay, 60 days later, we're in October. All right, so October is the next point of interest. And that is how the markets run, man. I'm telling you, this does not just apply to AMC. It applies to the entire crypto market. It's just, this is where you have to narrow down the POIs by looking at what the rest of the market is doing. If we come back to May, okay, and this specific time here, if we use Pepe as, if we use Shiba as reference, as a reference pattern, and we know that it is tracking in a similar fashion, we have like the same thing happening here to Pepe. What does that mean for AMC? Because if we come back to Shiba, okay, here it is, 2021. Here's the pattern that I am using. Whoa, we have like everything on the thing here. Let's take some stuff out. Okay, so here is Shiba, right? Now, here's October, right? Here is June. You see how it's pumping up June 15th? And then see how right around this range, we actually had, like very briefly, we had an inverse POI happen. So you can clearly see this on the chart, guys, right? Instead of going up here, it went down. But that's because you're constantly going to see the algorithm flip back and forth. The overall direction is still the same, but inside and you find these micro POIs, you're always going to see them flip back and forth. But this is why I'm saying, man, like if this is early, say that it's following, this portion of the pattern, and we're coming up here to June 24th, right? Well, if you pull up the same thing down here for Shiba, and now you pull up AMC's chart, because that's what we want to see. We want to see the correlation around that same time. Well, then you find yourself in the arc, because AMC had already ran at that point. And, we have the same POI here. We have the June POI. So sometimes you do get that shift where things are actually tracking completely flipped. So you get some things happening early, some things happening later. And in the algorithm, they don't go specifically in order. We track that same range, but a lot of the times you're gonna have these cryptos that are tracking other stocks in the market go a little bit later in the algorithm. Same thing with AMC. It doesn't have to be specifically AMC that's tracking, because right now Shiba is not doing this, right? Shiba is actually coming down. So, you do have to pay attention to those things. But a lot of the markets, a lot of the stocks in the markets and cryptos in the markets will be tracking some kind of sequence that has already panned out and played out in the past. So it's very important to track these things, again, to narrow down the possibilities. But yeah, just wanted to cover this because I think it's relevant and had some questions on it. I know I posted a video about this before, but this was an awesome play here. I just now closed the position here on the Discord. Yes, I do crypto plays on the Discord. So if you guys are interested in that, click the link below, twecharts.com. Okay, AMC. All right, guys. Expect the video to come out a little bit later today. I just wanted to go live and update some things, but I will likely post a video going over AMC more in depth and just cover some of the things that we're still tracking. So stay tuned for that, and make sure you guys subscribe, man, if you haven't, and yeah, join up, man, on this little community we have. All right, you guys take care. I'll see you on the next stream. Bye bye.